All right, this video is for lesson 1.5. It's quadratic functions. This one is due today, so make sure you get this one turned in. All right, so number one. Anybody need help with number one?
I haven't even opened it.
Okay.
I think all the number ones are the same.
Okay, so what was number one?
An equation that can be written in the general form of ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. A does not equal 0 is called a blank equation.
Yep, is a quadratic. Yep. So linear is ax plus by equals c. And then as soon as you get a squared, it's a quadratic. If you get a cubed, so a 3, it's a cubic. Above 3, we usually just call them a polynomial, but we'll get into that later. So, all right, so number 2.
The zero product principle states that if AB equals 0, then blank.
So zero product principle,
A equals 0 or B
if AB what?
Equals 0.
Then it should be A equals 0 or B equals 0.
Then A or B, one of them has to equal 0. Okay. We use that to find intercepts. All right, number 3.
If x squared equals 23, then x equals plus or minus the square root of 1.
Okay, so to get rid of a square, yep, you square root. So x is going to equal, and square roots are always a positive and a negative. And then that won't simplify down. So like if I take the square root of 16, my answer is positive or negative 4. Because positive 4 times positive 4 gives me a 16. Negative 4 times negative 4 gives me a positive 16. So two values with square roots. That was what was throwing me on that other one, is we were messing with square roots, but we weren't putting the positive or negative on them. All right, number.
It's just the number? Like,
If the positive negative is already printed for you, it just depends on what's printed for you.
So if mine says if x squared equals 19, then x equals plus or minus square root of 19.
So x equals plus or minus the square root of 19. All right, number 4.
All number 4 is asking is for the quadratic formula, or like what the formula is.
Oh, quadratic formula. So negative b plus or minus the square root b squared minus 4ac over 2a. And again, the number in front of the x squared is always the a. The number in front of just the plain old x is always the b. And then the constant, just the plain old number, is always the c. So even if they rearrange them, those are the values. All right, number 5.
In order to solve 3x squared plus 4x minus 2 equals 0, find the quadratic formula. Use A equals blank, B equals blank, and C.
So a equals what's in front of the x squared, b equals what's in front of the x, c equals the plain old number. And make sure when you're catching those that you catch the sign with it. So c is not just a 2, it's a negative 2. Same would be for the a or b. Just watch those signs really carefully. Okay. 6.
Now it just says simplify the following, and it's whole quadratic.
So what's the quadratic?
Mine is x equals negative. There's just negative sign times negative 6. So like it's negative sign, open parentheses, negative 6, close parentheses.
Like that?
Yeah. Plus or minus negative 6 squared minus 4 times 1 times 4 over 2 times 1.
And it just wants you to solve it.
Yeah.
Is it?
Look at the square root.
It's got a square root here?
Yeah.
Okay, so one thing that happens with these, if that's a negative, it goes in parentheses. If you type negative 6 squared in your calculator, it's going to tell you negative 36. That needs to be in parentheses because if you write it this way, you're squaring the 6 and then you're tacking the negative onto it. You write it this way, you're squaring the negative 6. So just, again, watch your signs. So negative 6 would be a positive 6. This would be 36 minus 16 over 2. So 36 minus 16 would be a 20 over 2. All right, if we break the square root of 20 down, so that's where we got to go next with this. We got 2 times 10, and then 2 times 5, which would be 2 times the square root of 5. So really what we have is 6 plus or minus 2 times the square root of 5 over 2. And then this simplifies. 6 divided by 2 is a 3. 2 divided by 2 cancels out. And we're left with just the square root of 5. That's where these get tricky, is simplifying them down. Is there another one? Something different?
X equals negative, open parentheses, negative 8.
Wait. Negative, open parentheses, negative 8, like that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Plus or minus the square root of negative 8 squared.
Okay.
Negative 4 times 1 times 11.
Over.
Or 2 times 1.
Okay. So negative 8 would be a positive 8. Negative 8 squared is a 64. 4 times 11 is a 44. So same thing, it's going to be square root of 20 over 2, which is 2 times the square root of 5 over 2. So 8 divided by 2 is a 4. 2 divided by 2 cancels, so it should just be 4 plus or minus 5. Square root of 5, sorry. Yeah, make sure you're simplifying. All right, any other different ones on that one?
Negative, open parentheses, negative 10, close parentheses, plus or minus square root of negative 10 squared, minus 4 times 1 times 3, over 2 times 1.
Okay, so 10 plus or minus 10 squared would be 100. 4 times 3 is 12, which would give me 88. 88 over 2. So 88 is going to be 2 times 44. 44 is going to be 2 times 22.
Yes.
2 times 11. So this one's going to be square root of 88 is going to be 2 times the square root of 22, because I can pull these two out. That makes a square, and I'm left with these, so I multiply them back together. So I've got 10 plus or minus 2 times the square root of 22 over 2. 10 divided by 2 is a 5. 2 divided by 2 cancels. Square root of 22. Fraction rules, biting you in the rear still. All right, let's look at number 7. Okay. What do we have for number 7?
Negative 6 plus or minus 6 squared minus 4 times 3 times 8 over 2 times 3.
Okay.
And it just says simplify, it's x equals 20.
Okay. So 6 squared is 36. 4 times 3 times 8. I just don't even want to do it in my head. Is 96. Ooh, this one's gross. So we're gonna get a negative here, which is actually, you don't really do that. So we got negative 6 plus or minus the square root of negative 60 over 6. Okay, negative 60 is gonna be 2 times 30. 30 is 2 times 15. 15 is 3 times 5. So we can pull the 2 out. So we're going to have negative 6 plus or minus a 2. And we're going to pull the negative out. So we're going to make it an I. And then what we've got left is the 3 and the 5. So 15 over 6. All right, so negative 6, this is not going to simplify down all the way. The easiest way to simplify this one is to factor everything. Or to split it. Nope, I wouldn't split it. Man, I don't know how they want that simplified.
They wanted you to take the 2 out.
Just take the 2 out, just factor the 2 out and leave it as a fraction? Okay. So, all I can do is factor a 2 out. Does that make sense? If I do it piece by piece, if I do like negative 6 over 6 plus or minus 2i square root of 15 over 6, I get negative 1 plus or minus, and then this is all going to be a fraction still.
They wanted you to keep it together.
They want it all together. So I'm going to factor a 2 out. So 6 is 2 times 3. This is 2 times 3. And so that's what I'm going to factor out, is just the 2. So I'm left with a negative 3 here. That 2's gone now. Was the I in front of the square root, baby? Do you remember? Yeah. Over 3. I know your brain goes, oh, I can factor that 3 out, but I can't because this is an addition or subtraction, which means you have to be able to factor it out of both pieces, each term. So do we have a different one like that?
I have x equals negative 10 plus or minus 10 square root of 10 squared
Okay.
minus 4 times 5 times 7 over 2 times 5.
Okay. So we get negative 10 plus or minus, so this is 100. 20, what, 140? Yep, 140. Minus 140, which is negative 40 over 10. Okay, so that negative 40 is going to be 2 times 20, 2 times 10, 2 times 5. So the 2's can get pulled out, and we're going to pull the negative out. So pull out a 2, pull out the negative, and I've got a 2 and a 5 left. So same thing, all we're going to do is pull the 2 out. So this would be a 5, this disappears, and then this becomes a 5. So I would have negative 5 plus or minus I square root of 10 over 5.
Why is it square root of 10 instead of 5?
2 times 5?
Oh yeah, okay. I get
Yeah, you pull 2 of them out, but you still have 1 left over. Yep, if you can't make a pair, it's got to stay underneath. Okay, any others like that? All right, number 8.
So on. Oh, here, I'm just bring it to you.
Joseph, you're
I know
gonna
what I'm doing. It's just it's retarded.
don't use that word.
Okay, that's what it is. So okay, so on this one, like you have to make sure to bring that over.
Yeah.
Even though if you bring the x over, it still gives you correct answer.
No, because you don't want the x to be negative.
You don't.
Nope.
Even,
Nope.
Even if it gives you the correct.
Because you won't
solution?
factor it right. It won't
won't.
factor right.
Okay.
Yep. All right. What do we have for number 8?
Use factoring to solve the quadratic equation, check the substitution when using a graph utility, and identify the x-intercepts.
Okay.
It says x squared minus x minus 56 equals 0.
And it wants you to factor it.
Yeah, it says write the equation in factored form.
Okay. So factored form. So what can I multiply together to get a 56? 8 and 7? Okay, but one of those has to be negative.
Negative 7.
No. Negative 8.
Oh, yeah.
Because negative 8 plus 7 would give me the negative 1 there. So x minus 8, x plus 7 would be the factored form. What's the next thing that it asks for?
Solution here,
X minus
yeah, solution there.
So like x equals 8 and x equals negative 7? Is that what it's wanting, Joseph?
Yeah, I think that's what it
As
is.
so it just has like one thing. So you'll put it in like as x equals 8 comma.
Okay.
7. I'm not sure if it wants them in a specific
Oh, yeah, the
order,
later-
but I just went ahead and
the
put
later
it
ones,
least to
Like,
greatest
I think
order.
12 or something.
Mhm.
It's gonna want you to put it like that.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. And so then it wants the x-intercepts, right? So 8 comma 0, negative 7 comma 0. Ugh. I love my sleep patches, but they leave like this nasty sticky goo on me, and it eventually gets gross. Ugh. Okay. Maybe now I won't start freaking out over it. Okay. Any other ones on number 8 you want me to go through?
X squared minus 2x
X squared minus 2x
minus 63.
minus 63 equals 0. So what is that? 7 times 9? Which means it's got to be a negative 9. Because negative 9 plus 7 is what gives you the negative 2. So your factors, huh?
Would it be the 9 first? Okay, that's
It honestly doesn't matter. Because it's multiplication. Multiplication is commutative.
right. That's what I had. I was thinking that's what
And so then you've got x equals 9 comma negative 7. And then your x-intercepts are going to be 9 comma 0 and negative 7 comma 0.
X equals 9. Wait, so the solution set is, would that be the
9 comma negative 7.
Okay.
Unless it tells you ascending or descending, if it gives you a specific order, make sure you put it in that order.
the X equals 9?
Does it tell you to put them least to greatest or greatest to least or anything like that? Okay, then it should be fine.
So how do we do what? 9. The solution sets, how do we do those? Sorry.
The two numbers with a comma between them.
Oh, mine says that is incorrect. Yeah, that's what mine says.
On this one, did you put a negative 7?
Yes.
Maybe put it least to greatest, so negative 7, comma 9.
Mine were least the greatest and they were still wrong.
That's weird.
Yeah, mine still says 9. I only have one more thing.
Yes. Okay, hang on. The solution set is. Hey, Joseph, did you have to type x equals in there or just the values?
Just
You just
values,
do-
but negative goes first.
Yeah, just like the negative and column and then the positive. There's no x equals 1.
It's lowest value to highest value.
Comma 9. Okay. Okay.
That's what I did, but mine still said it.
Did you type an x equals in there?
No.
Did you type the lowest number first? What were your two numbers?
Negative 5 and 2.
Let me see. It's not negative 5 and 2, it's positive 5 and negative 2. Flip the sign when you're solving.
It told me the equation was right.
It is. But the solutions, the signs flip. All right, number 9.
X squared equals 3x plus 18.
Okay. Everything has to be on the same side. You want x squared to be positive. So you're moving everything this direction. So you're going to have x squared minus 3x minus 18 equals 0. You always want quadratics set equal to 0. You always want the x squared to be positive. It wants these same process factored and everything?
Yeah.
Okay. So 18 is 6 times 3. In order to get a negative, it's going to have to be negative 6 times 3. And so your solution set is going to be positive 6. Kappa kappa.
What's in your parentheses? Negative 6 and positive?
Yeah, negative 3 comma 6. And then your intercepts are going to be negative 3 comma 0 and 6 comma 0.
So, rewrite the equation factor form. Is that the x minus 6?
Mm-hmm, that's the factored form. Any different ones on that one?
I have x squared equals 6x plus 40.
6x plus 40. So same thing. Everything's got to move. So 40 is 4 times 10? 10's got to be negative to get that negative 6. So x minus 10, x plus 4. So your solution set, the signs flip. So negative 4, comma positive 10. And then x-intercepts, negative 4, comma 0, and 10, comma 0. All right, number 10.
5x squared equals 14x plus 24.
Equals 14x plus 24. Okay, same thing. Everything gets moved. But here's the next rule. Minus 24 equals 0. Can't do anything with this 5 here. I taught my kids slip and slide. Whatever's in front of the x squared, you slip to the end. So you're going to have x squared minus 14x, and then 24 times 5. 24 times 5 is 120. So minus 120. And then you can factor. So 120, we need 2 that are going to make 10 and 12 won't make a 14. 8 and 15 won't. 20 and 6 will. 20 times 6. So the 20 has to be negative to get a negative 14. So x minus 20, x plus 6. You have to undo this slip though. So whatever number that you slipped, you have to undo that. Each piece gets simplified. So 20 divided by 5 is a 4. 6 over 5 won't simplify. So here's your slide. Because you don't want a fraction, 5x plus 6. If you would take those two and FOIL them, you get right back to where you started. Mm-hmm.
Does it matter which one you put first?
This, it shouldn't. Your solution set though, so when you have one like this, you have to solve it. Some of you guys can see it in your heads, but you have to set it equal to 0 and then solve it. 5x equals a negative 6 divided by 5, x equals negative 6/5. It's just the opposite of kind of where you started. But that's where things start getting tricky. And then your x-intercepts are going to be negative 6 over 5, comma 0, and 4, comma 0. Do we have a different one?
I have 4x squared
Equals
equals 15x plus 54.
15x plus 54?
Yes.
Okay, so we would have 4x squared minus 15x minus 54. So we want to slip the 4. So we get 216. So x squared minus 15x minus 216. So now we need factors. We need factors that are going to make a 15. So 216, it's not going to be 2. 4 is not going to work. 27 minus 8. Nope, still too much. 216. I just kind of start working through the factors. 9 and 24, 24 minus 9 gives me a 15. So 24 times 9 gives me 216. 24 has to be negative to get that negative 15. So undo your slip. So x minus 6. This won't simplify, so we slide 4x plus 9. So my solution set is going to be negative 9 over 4 comma 6. And then my x-intercepts are going to be 9 over 4 comma 0 and 6 comma 0. All right, 11. What do we got left? We got about 10 minutes.
Do you know if they're wanting mixed numbers or just?
I would say no on the mixed numbers. I would say improper fractions in simplest form. All right, 11.
Okay. Now I'll go to 4x squared equals 23x plus 6.
Right? So 4x squared minus 23x minus 6. Slip the 4. X squared minus 23x minus 24. 24's got to be 24 times 1. So x minus 24, x plus 1. Undo my slip. So x minus 6, and then that one won't simplify. So 4x plus 1. Solution set is going to be negative 1/4 comma positive 6 with intercepts. So any different ones on that?
What did you say the solution set was?
Negative 1/4 comma 6.
I've had 2x squared equals 3x plus 9.
2x squared equals 3x plus 9. I'll come back to that one if I have time. Let's try to get through these last 8. All right, so number 12.
Plus 16x equals 0.
4x squared plus 16x equals 0. All right, so this one's factoring. I can factor a 4 out of both of these. So first off, I'm going to factor that 4 out and get that. They both have an x. I'm going to factor an x out of both of those. So now I have 4x times x plus 4. Those are my factors. So sometimes you don't even have to factor like we've been doing. You can literally factor pieces out and get your two factors. Does it want all the same pieces?
I'll check it.
Like solution set and everything?
Yeah.
So solution set for this one is going to be a negative 4. Right here, it's going to be a 0. Because remember, you're taking those factors and you're setting them equal to 0 and you're solving. So when you set 4x equal to 0, x has to equal 0. That was that number 2 question, that 0 product property. So if you have a factor that's like this, the solution for that one's always going to be x equals 0. And then intercepts, negative 4 comma 0, and then the origin, 0, 0. All right, any other ones on that one? Okay, let's look at, let me mark this one so I'll make sure and come back to it if I got time. All right, 13.
9x squared plus 21x minus 8 equals 0.
Minus 8.
Yes.
Okay, I can almost guarantee you that one's not going to factor. If I slip it, I get a 72. X squared plus 21 minus 72. Almost guaranteed that that one won't factor. Let's do it this way.
Negative 3 and 24. Will that?
It will.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, 3 and 24. They both have to be negative. Oh, they can't be both negative.
No.
So the 3 has to be negative, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but we slipped that 9, so you have to undo it. Okay. If the fractional simplify it. This one won't. So I'm going to go ahead and slide that one. But simplify the fraction before you do that slide. That still doesn't look right. It's not. Because 24 over 9 will simplify.
No, it shouldn't.
8 over 3.
8 over 3.
Oh.
8 over 3. 8 over 3. So, what is that? 3x plus 8. Let me pause this. Let's finish this one off, and then, so solution set here is going to be negative 8 over 3, comma, positive 1/3. And then those are going to be your intercepts. Okay. All right.
That one's just asking for it to be factored completely.
Oh, just to be factored?
Yeah.
Okay, so 14. Somebody give me their 14.
I'll give you mine.
Okay.
2x squared plus 16x equals 0.
What does it want? Just to be factored or everything?
Just the factor. Well, it says part 1 and 2, so
So
I don't know what it wants.
14 factored in solution.
Just factor. If I do that on these, if I just get you to the factors and get you to the solutions, if you need this, can you get to the x-intercept point?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so 15. Somebody different give me 15 so I can try to work a couple for everybody.
4x squared plus 16x equals 0.
And just solution.
Does that look right?
Yeah.
Okay. I did that one. That was number 12.
Okay.
So somebody have something different on 15?
2x squared plus 16x equals 0.
Nope, got that one.
6. Oh, wait, JK.
So between 12, 14, and 15.
5x squared plus 10x equals 0.
5x squared plus 10x equals 0. So that'll help you. You can go through the numbers may not match up, but you'll have the work for all those. Okay. And then 16.
Alright, 6x squared equals 24. And it wants us to solve by square root property.
Okay. Let me just walk you through this one. Get everything away from the x squared. So divide by 6.
Okay.
X squared equals 4. If you square root both sides, x equals positive, negative, square root of 4. That's the square root property, just so you guys know, you can kind of see it firsthand. Get everything away from the x squared first, then square root. You can't square root till you have just this, just an x squared on one side. All right, 17.
3x squared plus 3 equals 33.
3x squared plus 3
Yes.
equals 33?
Yes.
No x term?
No.
Okay.
Well, 3x. But
Whoa, wait. 3x squared plus 3x?
no.
Okay. 18.
2x squared minus 3 equals negative 21.
Does that look right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Negative 21.
Negative 21. Okay. 19.
Open parentheses, x minus 5, close parentheses, squared equals 9.
Okay. And then 20.
5 parentheses, x plus 1,
Okay.
parentheses, squared
Squared
equals 90.
equals 90. Okay. So I'll go through
We still got
Oh.
7 more.
7 more?
Yes.
Holy crap. Okay, 21. Let's go fast.
Open parentheses, x plus 3,
Okay.
parentheses, squared
Okay.
equals negative 25.
Negative 25. Okay. 22.
Open parentheses, x minus 3, close parentheses, squared equals negative 3.
Okay. 23.
Open parentheses, 7x
Okay. 23, so 24.
X squared minus 10x plus
X.
50 equals 0. And
Wait,
that
x squared minus 10x
plus 50,
50 equals,
0.
okay?
Quadratic formula, and then just one solution.
Wait. 24 wants you to use the quadratic formula.
Yeah.
Okay. 25.
X squared plus 9x plus 18 equals 0. Using a quadratic formula.
Quadratic formula. All right. 26.
5x squared equals 2x plus 4.
5x squared plus 2x equals.
5x squared equals 2x plus 4.
Okay. 5x squared equals 2x plus 4.
Yes.
Okay. And then 27
X squared minus 6x plus 13
equals
0.
0. Okay.
Thank you for showing me the square root method, because I would have tried it completely wrong. I looked at the textbook and
All right, so picking back up on 14. Actually, I'm going to go back, Lexi, because I told you I would do number 12 for you. So let me work that one really quick. Okay, so this one, get all the pieces together. We're going to slip. So we would have x squared minus 3x, 2 times negative 9 is negative 18. 18 is 6 times 3. So x minus 6, x plus 3. And how I'm doing that so quick, negative 6 times 3 equals negative 18. Negative 6 plus 3 equals negative 3. Okay. Undo our slip. So 6 divided by 2 is a 3. 3 over 2 won't simplify, so we slide. And so our solution set is going to be negative 3 over 2 comma positive 3. And then x-intercepts negative 3 comma 2 over 2 comma 0 and 3 comma 0. So that works that one for you. Okay. This one here, I want everything away from the x squared. If we don't have an x term, that's when we can use the square root property. When there's not an x term, this is an x squared term, this is an x term. So that's how I kind of know. So PEMDAS backwards. Divide everything by 3. X squared is going to equal 10. And so that means if I square root both sides, x is going to equal positive, negative, square root of 10. And that square root won't simplify down because it's 2 factors, 2 and 5 are prime, no duplicates. Okay, this one again, PEMDAS backwards. Get rid of the addition and subtraction first. Get rid of the multiplication and division first. Work backwards. So 2x squared, 21 minus 3 is going to give me 18. 18 divided by 2, x squared equals 9. So this one, square root both sides, x is going to equal positive negative 3. All right, this one. Again, this is just what I teach Algebra 1 kids. Factor this out before you do anything else. Actually, this one you can square root too. So let me do that. Let me work it that way because that is probably the way they want it worked. So parentheses, exponents are always the very last thing you do. So I want to get rid of, I have to get rid of that exponent before I do anything else. So this is going to be positive negative 3. And this is where this gets dicey. So when I add 5, I have positive 3 plus 5, and then I have negative 3 plus 5. So be really, really careful with your signs. So this one's going to have 2 answer choices. 8 and 2 are going to be your solutions. So that would be your solution set, 2 comma 8. And then x-intercepts 2, 0, 8, 0. So be really careful with those signs. If you do that, you could break it down, you could quad formula it, but that's the quickest solution for that one. Okay, number 20. So for this one, I'm going to move the 5 first before I get rid of that squared. Okay? The reason I know to get rid of that 5 first, because if I square root this, I have to square root the whole side, which would also square root the 5. But I can divide by that 5, and that makes it a little bit easier. And that just comes with practice. Sorry, y'all. 90 divided by 5 is 18. Okay. So I'm going to have x plus 1 squared is going to equal 18. And then I would square root this. So I would have x plus 1 equals the square root of 18. So the square root of 18, we got 2 times 9, and then 9 is 3 times 3. So really, I've got x plus 1 equals 3 times the square root of 2. Okay. I'm hoping I'm telling you this right. How I would write this answer. Because remember, when we square root, we've got that positive negative. And so that would be your answer. Positive negative 3 times the square root of 2 minus 1. This doesn't go underneath that square root sign. Sometimes that's how I would write it. That's simplest form to me. Okay? That's again going to be teacher discretion on what simplest form is there. Okay? If you want to write this as a solution set, right? We would have like negative 1 plus 3 times the square root of 2, and then we would have negative 1 minus 3 times the square root of 2, which actually it would probably be reversed. I think that one would be the least. So again, check your values, make sure you're writing them in order from least to greatest. So check what the instructions say, okay? Because this is probably not in the right order. Okay, we got a negative now. So when I square root both sides, I get the square root of negative 25, which is going to be 5i. So remember, it would be square root of 25 times the square root of negative 1, and that's positive negative 5. This would be I. And then we would subtract 3 from both sides. Again, for me, that's how I would write my solution. Okay? Again, if it wants it as a solution set, make sure you're putting them in the right order. All right, this one, if we square root both sides, okay, this one, all we can do is pull the I out. So we're going to have positive negative I times the square root of 3. And then we add 3 to both sides. So again, I would put that 3 first. But you need to do what your professor requests, because he may want it this way, and then it should be negative plus 3. But again, probably reversed if you're going least to greatest, because this would be the smaller one. Okay, this one. If we square root both sides, we get positive negative 9. Square root of 81 is 9. So I'm going to set up 2 different equations. I've got a positive 9 and I've got a negative 9. So to solve this, I would subtract 4 from both sides. Nine minus 4 is a 5, negative 9, negative 4 is a negative 13. And then divide by 7. So solution set, negative 13 over 7, comma, 5 over 7. So be careful again with that positive negative stuff, that you're watching those signs. Okay, 24's quadratic formula. So A is a 1, B is a negative 10, C is a 50. So negative B plus or minus the square root of B squared minus 4AC over 2A. So when I put that negative 10 in there, this negative sticks around. Don't drop that negative sign. Again, when we square it, it needs to be in parentheses. A is 1, C is 50, A is 1. So negative negative 10 is a positive 10. This is 100. 4 times 50 gives me 200. So square root of negative 100 over 2. This I can break down. Okay, so 100 is going to be 2 times 50. 50 is 2 times 25. 25 is 5. Oh, sorry. I'm losing my mind, y'all. Would be 10I. Square root of 100 is 10. Square root of negative 1 is an I. And so if we factor that 2 out, 10 divided by 2 is 5. And so again, it may want this as like 5 minus 5I, comma 5 plus 5I, depending on the order they want it in. Okay, just pay attention to how they want their answers. So A, B, C. So negative B plus or minus the square root of B squared minus 4 times A times C over 2A. Let's see, 4 times 18 is 72. 9 squared is 81. So it gives me a 9 in there. So negative 9 plus or minus the square root of 9 over 2, which would be negative 9 plus or minus 3 over the square root of 2. So as an ordered pair, as a solution set, negative 9 minus 3 over 2, comma, negative 9 plus 3 over 2. And again, the reason I'm switching them is I'm doing my best to get them into simplest form, but this will simplify. So negative 9 minus 3 is a negative 12. Negative 9 plus 3 is a negative 6. So negative 12 over 2 is a negative 6. Negative 6 over 2 is a negative 3. So always make sure that you're simplifying all the way down. Okay. This one we need all the pieces together. Minus 4. I don't know if this one said quadratic formula or not, so I'm just going to show you how, if they don't tell you, how you check. 5 times 4 is a negative 20. 20 is, I'm going to show you how I was doing this in my calculator. Again, how I teach freshmen to do this. If we're trying to look for the factors of 20, we do 20 divided by x in the graph, and we pull up the table. So 1 times 20 is 20, but 20 minus 1, that doesn't give me a 2. 2 times 10 is 20, but 10 minus 2 doesn't give me a negative 2. 5 and 4 won't give me a negative 2, and you can't use these weird pieces. So that shows me right there I can't factor this. The other thing that you can do is you can always graph it and kind of look at it and get an idea of what we're doing. Your calculator will find the x-intercepts. Menu 6, 1, it's the 0, and you can capture them. And so you kind of have an idea of what they are. Okay, but quadratic formula is probably going to be what we need here. So negative b plus or minus the square root of negative b squared minus 4 times a times c over 2a. Okay, negative negative 2 is a 2. Negative 2 squared is a 4. So here you're going to get a sign change. Negative 4 times negative 20. Again, be careful with your signs. Oh, goodness. we get an 80. And that's actually a plus now. The best way you can probably do this is to type the entire, just don't type the square root in. Do just what's underneath the square root, okay? That's probably your best option for these to make sure that you're not missing a sign. Again, what I teach, oh, shoot. I don't know if y'all see what I did. If I quadratic formula this, I don't want to use that. So, negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c over 2 times a. Negative negative 2 is a positive 2. Let's simplify that square root. Okay. Sorry guys if I just completely twisted you up. I'm typing in just what's underneath the square root. And I get 84. And then 2 times 5 is 10. So 84 we can break down into 2 times 42. And then into 2 times 21. And then this is 3 times 7. So 2 plus or minus, we can pull the 2 out. 21's left over 10. Okay, so this one, all I can do is I can factor a 2 out. Factor 2 out, factor 2 out, and if I factor 2 out of that, I've got a 5. So I would have 1 plus or minus the square root of 21 over 5. So that factors out, but all it does is it factors to a 1. Same thing with here, it factors to a 1. I can't make the first one invisible, but I can make this one invisible. That's proper form. So again, make sure you're writing in your solution set right. You're going to have 2 answers on that one, like 1 minus the square root of 21 over 5 and 1 plus the square root of 21 over 5. Last one, there's nothing I can multiply together to get a 13. That would also give me a negative 6. So, quadratic formula. Negative b plus or minus the square root b squared minus 4 times a times c over 2a. Negative negative 6 is a positive. And then all I'm going to do is I'm just going to simplify what's underneath the radical. That's what I'm going to do first. So negative 6 squared minus 4 times 1 times 13. And it gives me a negative 16 over 2. Sorry, negative 16. Okay, so first off, square root of negative 16 is going to be a 4 and an I. Okay. Joseph did tell me that answers for ones like this where we pulled out a negative, they did want them split, so like 6 minus 4i over 2, comma 6 plus. Y'all see what I did? I didn't simplify. So 6 is 2 times 3, 4. Let's do it here. 4 is 2 times 2. And so I can factor a 2 out of everything. So I would have 3 plus 2i. That's my answer. Oh, plus or minus. So solution set, 3 minus 2i, 3 plus 2i would be your solution set. Here's another way he said one of his answers were written, just so you have it in case. He said one of his answers he had to write this way that had the I pulled out. No, you can't factor the 5 out because you'd have to factor it out of this piece as well. Okay. If you have questions today, more than welcome to swing by. I would say end of 5th, 6th, or 8th would probably be good times today.